All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Rapper Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Thank you for being with us here on this Thursday. Yesterday, we got some very, very sad news that one of Nebraska's own heroes, Jack Hoffman, had passed away at the age of 19. He was a freshman pre-law student at the University of Nebraska, Kearney, and he was excited about the opportunity to be a political science major, right? Like he wanted to be in that field. Jack Hoffman, of course, known for what he did in 2013 in the spring game. I mean, the greatest spring game moment that any of us have ever seen anywhere. I mean, I say that without try to say that without hyperbole. Certainly, the definition of what you think of when you think of sort of a moment in whether it be Nebraska football or in a spring game.
It won the ESPY for best moment.
It literally won an ESPY. And more importantly, over the last decade plus, brought awareness and fundraising and opportunities to pediatric brain cancer, which Jack was suffering from at the time and continued to invariably throughout the last decade plus here, and ultimately lost his battle with over I guess yesterday. First of all, so you sort of hear the news and then it really comes into focus when it says he was 19 years old. And you're like, my goodness. It's ridiculous that life could be that unfair. His father, Andy, who helped lead the charge on this more than a decade ago, passed a few years ago to cancer. And now Jack and leaves behind two sisters and a mother who I can't imagine what they've gone through even before a couple years ago when Andy passed away, and then obviously today as well. Literally, Andy, Jack's father, reached out to Rex Burkhead and basically said, hey, my son here, he could kind of use a pick-me-up. Here's our story. Here's our situation. And this is the definition of a grassroots sort of movement in the state. And now look at what Team Jack is, right? Andy reaches out to Rex Burkhead. And he picked the perfect person to reach out to. Because at first it was going to be like, hey, I think Jack just wants to, maybe meet you, maybe see a practice, but really I just want you to know that you have a really big fan in Jack Hoffman. Okay. And then everybody started wearing the wristbands, and then Jack led the team out of the tunnel in 2012 against Wisconsin. And then it built on from there. And then a few folks in charge at the time at Nebraska, including Jeff Jamrog. I mean, Bo Pelini obviously had a hand in this as well. And Rex, after he was gone from Nebraska at that point, with that continuing developing relationship, he became a part of the team. And they said, let's put the kid into the game and let's give him the ball. Not for the purpose of this would be really cool and or knowing the idea that it would blow up the way it did and that it would win an ESPY and that he would become a figure in the state, or he would become, or Team Jack would become one of these things in the state. Obviously that was a consequence, a positive consequence from the experience, but really not for that, but mostly for the idea that we want to make Jack happy, right? We want to make Jack happy.
Nebraska, not the first team or organization to do what they did during that spring game, but in the years since, where it's become sort of, okay, everybody kind of does this now. They were one of the first to really gain traction from doing it.
Well,
unquote.
You just see the power. You see the power of the state. You see the power of when everybody. I mean, it's really hard for any of us to come together about anything. These days, or really at all. as it pertains to Nebraska football or as it pertains to sports or life or whatever it might be. And they're like, yeah, we're going to wrap our arms around Jack. And that he has the run in the game and it becomes what it becomes. And it's got however many million views on YouTube. I was good for about 5 more yesterday and this morning.
I clicked on it 2 or 3 times, couldn't quite finish it.
Yeah. And then Team Jack was born, and Team Jack is now totally ingrained into the fabric of the state. It's a shame to me that Jack will never see and appreciate the change that he made. He was 19 years old, right? And I'm not just talking about, the fact that he passed away far too young, but what's cool about kids is like they don't really see the big picture. It's really it's kind of moment to moment, and it's really honest and it's really organic. And so I'm sure it was imparted on him, like, your fight made a gigantic difference. And it will continue to make a gigantic difference in the state. Because I was listening to Jack Mitchell talk about this yesterday on the show, and he was really close doing the Team Jack radiothons and stuff like that, and being close with Andy before he passed. Like, and one of the things that Jack Mitchell said was, well, Andy believed that they really were making a difference from a financial monetary standpoint. Like, let's get more attention on this. Let's get more eyes on this. Let's get more research on this. We can fix it. Like, we can come up with a solution or better, more sensible treatments for pediatric brain cancer. And we can get there. So maybe it was too late for Jack or whatever it might have been, but this can make a difference. And what they actually found was true. But I think for making a difference is the people coming together and fighting for a common cause and understanding that Jack Hoffman, the Hoffman family is ours. And the state will always continue to sort of wrap their arms around it. That's a big impact. It's a big impact in functional ways, and it's a big impact on the hearts and minds of people, because it gives you hope. And like I said, with Jack, kids approach things just differently. We as we go on through life, we're able to see the big picture a little bit more clear. I wish I knew the things, I now know when I was 19, or I wish I knew the things that I now know 5 years ago. Whatever it might be, you just grow wiser over time. And so it's a shame that Jack, 20 years down the line, won't be able to see whoa, wow, what did this become? But make no mistake about it. It is impactful, and it was impactful, and it will continue to be impactful in all of those different ways. And so while you work through the emotions of it being shocking and heartbreaking and all those things, you leave, as Jack did, you leave a positive twinge at the end of it. You leave a positive ramp up at the end of it and say, man, what a fight. And what a legacy that he will leave in the state, that he leaves in the state of Nebraska or around the country. I mean, there was people from all corners of the sports world yesterday. Mm-hmm. Dick Vitale.
Yeah. No stranger to fighting.
Anyone who came in contact with him, or exactly, no stranger to fight in that situation. And then there's the impact he had on the Nebraska football program and the figures inside of the Nebraska football program. You think about Taylor Martinez and you think of a certain thing, and then you watch the run, and then you watch everybody come together, and it really puts some things in perspective. You think about Bo Pelini, and you think about a certain thing. It's not the thing I think about when I watch when I watch Jack Hoffman run for a 69-yard touchdown. No, it's different than that. So it gives you perspective. And everybody that was ever around Bo was like, yeah, I mean, I would like, I would run through a brick wall for Bo. Like, I love Bo because Bo cares about me. And we got to see that. And so there's that piece of it too. It's special. It was special. And I think that's the lasting legacy. That and many more things with Jack Hoffman, who we were incredibly sad to get that news yesterday.
People forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. And what do we talk about all the time on the show? That if the university calls upon its fan base, they show up in a way that is uncommon in college athletics. And with that 2013 spring game, the university called upon its fan base to, hey, just want to make you aware, this is something that's happening within your state. We can do a lot of good. And to the tune of, I think I saw the number last night on the news, $12.7 million so far and counting.
Mm-hmm.
They can continue to make a difference. And one family whose burden is, quite frankly, unfair. They are
shockingly unfair.
Yeah, they're doing amazing things in this state, and they can hold their head high and like, okay, it was for something, right?
The Team Jack Gala this year is February 22nd. It's in a little bit more than a month. I would imagine that you see sort of like a record turnout for that and a record amount of donations to the cause. The keynote speaker is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has a way of giving speeches. So this will be, that will be quite the event that night for everybody to come together, think about the family, remember the family, remember Jack and Andy, and then to, continue to come together, because that's what we're going to do next. So incredibly disappointed and sad to get that news yesterday, but once again, the legacy is the thing that will hang on here. We'll come back. We'll take a break. Jacob Padilla will join us on the other side. We'll talk some Jays hoops with him coming up on 1620 The Zone.